The sound of a continuing conflict. Explosions rang out once again in Gaza as the Israeli military conducted airstrikes in eastern Rafah. The IDF say the strikes in Gaza were part of wider operations in the area to take out Hamas militants. It comes after the IDF on Monday warned those in eastern Rafah to evacuate the area. This information was sent out by a broadcast text message and even flyers. Many then vacated Rafah, which is home to nearly 1.4 million displaced Palestinians who have taken refuge from the war that started after the October the 7th attacks by Hamas on Israeli territory.
The people who are meant to leave are elderly or sick. I know children in Rafah who've had amputations and are in tents and are now being forced to move. So no, somehow, this is what we feared, but it's going to happen and it's going to be horrific.
Following the evacuations, airstrikes continued. Just a day earlier, there was hope, as Hamas announced it had agreed to a ceasefire deal proposed by Egypt and Qatar, causing these scenes in the streets of Gaza. Israel, however, rejected the deal, saying it falls short of their demands. Following the collapse in negotiations, the IDF moved into Rafah and has since said they have taken full control of the Rafah crossing, which lies at the south of Gaza where it connects with Egypt. One image shared by the IDF is moments after a Gaza sign was destroyed by Israeli armour. Similarly, as gunshots are heard, this tank, filmed again from a soldier's perspective, carries out a similar act. Before Israel's operations and advancement into Rafah, US President Joe Biden held talks with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
And I also want to take a moment to address the latest reports now out of Rafah, which was also a topic of discussion on the call. I'll reiterate again that we cannot and we will not speak for IDF operations, but we've made clear our views about operations in Rafah that could potentially put more than 1 million innocent people at greater risk. During his call with Prime Minister Netanyahu, the president again made this clear. He also made clear that we continue to believe that the hostage deal is the best way to avoid that sort of an outcome while securing the release of those hostages. And as I said, those conversations continue.
Additionally, UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak also shared his concerns on any military presence in Rafah before operations began.
I've been very consistent that we are concerned, deeply concerned, about the prospect of a military incursion into Rafah, given the number of civilians that are sheltering there and the importance of that crossing for aid. I've made those points repeatedly to Prime Minister Netanyahu. The priority right now should be on all parties, but particularly Hamas, to agree to a deal to release hostages and allow more aid to go in as part of a temporary pause, which will allow us to build a sustainable ceasefire. That's the best way to end the suffering, and that's what I'll continue to call on all parties to do.
Since the IDF has moved into Rafah, it is announced that rockets have headed towards Israel from Gaza.